Stepping onto a cruise, excited to explore new ports, but feeling overwhelmed by the endless excursion choices is something many of us have faced. I've been in that exact spot, staring at a long list of tours, unsure which ones are really worth the time and money. The real challenge is that picking the wrong excursion could mean missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But here's the good news. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to plan the perfect excursions for your cruise. Avoiding the mistakes I made, I'll guide you through everything you need to know about cruise excursions, how to choose the right ones, budget wisely, and even find great alternatives to ship-sponsored tours. By the end, you'll be ready to book your excursions with confidence and make the most of every port stop. And make sure to stick around because I'll also share a game-changing tip for booking cruises that you won't want to miss. When I first started cruising, I had no idea how important cruise excursions were. Sure, the ship is fun, but the real magic happens when you step off and explore new places. Cruise excursions are your chance to dive into the culture, history, and natural beauty of each port. Whether you're into hiking, snorkeling, or exploring ancient ruins, excursions make it possible to see the world in a totally new way. The key is knowing how to choose the right excursions for you. It's tempting to sign up for everything, but not all tours are created equal. Some may not align with what you're truly interested in, and that's where planning comes in. I remember one time when I booked an excursion just because it sounded popular, but it ended up being too physically intense for me. I was exhausted halfway through and didn't get to enjoy it as much as I could have. That's why planning and choosing the right excursions is so important. You want to pick the activities that match your energy and interests. If you're a foodie, look for culinary tours. If history fascinates you, find a guided tour of local landmarks. It's all about knowing what excites you most. Okay, so now you know how important excursions are, but how do you actually plan for them? The first thing you should do is look at the ports of call on your cruise itinerary. Ask yourself, why did I book this cruise? Maybe you're excited about a specific destination. If that's the case, focus on booking excursions at those key stops first to make sure you don't miss out. But here's a tip. Don't just go for the big-ticket excursions. Sometimes the smaller, lesser-known tours can be the most rewarding. I once chose a tiny walking tour in a small village over a crowded city tour, and it ended up being one of the best parts of my trip. Speaking of choices, let's talk about diversifying your excursion options. You don't want to do the same type of tour every day. One day, you might go on an adventurous hike. The next, a relaxing beach day or a cooking class. Mixing things up keeps your trip exciting and gives you a fuller experience of each destination. Now, onto something really important. Budgeting. Excursions can get expensive fast if you're not careful. But with a little strategy, you can manage your budget effectively. I like to mix paid excursions with free or low-cost activities, like self-guided walking tours or exploring on my own. By doing this, you can save money while still enjoying everything the port has to offer. All right, here comes the part that changed how I book excursions forever: booking early. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse than seeing an excursion sell out because you waited too long. I learned this the hard way when I missed out on a dolphin watching tour that I'd been dreaming about for months. After that, I always make it a priority to book the tours I care about most as soon as possible. By booking early, you also give yourself more time to plan your schedule, so you're not cramming too much into one day. It's all about balancing your time between exploring and relaxing. Trust me, you don't want to be exhausted halfway through your cruise. Another key thing is to read the excursion descriptions carefully. You want to know exactly what's included, how long the tour lasts, and if there are any restrictions, like physical activity levels. That way, there are no surprises, and you're sure to pick something that you'll enjoy from start to finish. And here's something you may not have considered: self-guided tours. If you're stopping at a port that's easy to navigate, you don't need to spend a ton of money on a guided tour. Many cities have great public transportation or are walkable, making it easy to explore at your own pace. You can map out your own route, hit the sites you want, and even stop at local spots along the way. Plus, it's a great way to stick to your budget. But let's say you want to splurge a little. Some excursions offer unique, once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Things like behind-the-scenes access or private tastings. These might cost more, but the memories are worth it. On one trip, I booked an exclusive tour that included a private visit to a vineyard and a gourmet lunch. It was pricier than the other options, but I still think about that day, and it was totally worth it. The great thing about ship-sponsored tours is that they guarantee you'll get back to the ship on time. I've heard stories about people missing their ship because their tour ran late. If you're booking with an independent company, make sure they're reliable and have a good track record. And don't forget to read the fine print about cancellation policies. Life happens, weather changes, plans shift, and you don't want to lose money because you didn't check the refund policy. Now, let's talk about that game-changing cruise tip I promised you earlier. How to book your next cruise and tips for making it stress-free. It's something a lot of cruisers don't even know about. You look on your computer or phone and select the cruise ship you want, but then there's the length of the cruise, what cabin to select, and whether you should get the dining package or drink package. It can get overwhelming fast. Let me show you how to book a cruise without being overwhelmed. Click the video above and let's travel.